What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the podcast. We're here in Superchief Gallery with Luis, curator of the splendid group show that you see behind you, California Cowboys. We had to do it. The show was legendary.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Incredible. A car show and art show that spanned genres between like graffiti, photography, lowrider culture, tattoo art, skateboard art.
Yeah.
Basically, California Cowboys is a celebration of like underground Southern California, Southwest culture in general, I'd say.
Yeah.
Can you just tell me who you are and how you got started with like founding the California Cowboys collective?
California Cowboys is, I'm Luis, obviously. But California Cowboys is just exactly what you said. You nailed it. You know, it's just like all the full spectrum of California culture, you know, like it's skateboarding, it's surfing, it's lowriding, it's choppers, it's the wild, wild west, you know, it's everything, you know, that comes from here. It's punk, it's graffiti, you know, it's hardcore, it's, you know, it's a lot of things, but I mean, if you're from here and you really know what that is, it's deep, you know, so, yeah.
Where are you from in California, and like, what was your trajectory to getting into this kind of art?
I grew up here in LA. I grew up in Los Angeles. I've been here for 36 years, born and raised, and don't really plan on going anywhere. And it's really just everything I grew up in. You know, it's the full ecosystem. It's just brought forward through an art show. You know, through all the different cultures and everything, and all the different overlap of circles that I've grown up in. And you know, I grew up skateboarding. I own lowriders, and I grew up skateboarding. Yeah, and I grew up playing in punk bands and hardcore bands, and you know, just traveling all up and down the West Coast and through like the Southwest, and just this is my excuse to invite all my friends to one place, you know, to come and celebrate just everything that we are.
So sick.
Yeah.
Obviously, lowriding and car culture is like a huge part of California Cowboys, part of the show. We've got your Monte Carlo here in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me about the car.
It's a 1973 Chevy Monte Carlo. It's got true spokes, 14.7s on it. It's got some cool angel hair in the back, and a custom 8-inch chain link steering wheel. It's on air ride. It's got a scrape plate underneath it. It's my baby. It's definitely it's a lot of fun for sure. I mean, for me, just like cruising is such a big part of California. Car culture is such a big part of California. You know, like regardless of like lowriding, but lowriding is like so LA.
So can you just straighten it out for me? Like, to you, what is car culture in California, and like specifically what is lowriding, and how do those compare with each other?
Yeah, I think like a big part of California is cruising, you know, like up and down PCH, you know, whether it's on a chopper or in a classic car, or maybe you're into Hondas or, you know, whatever. There's like so many different subsects within, you know, car culture in California on the West Coast. It's like, you know, everybody wants to get a classic car from the West Coast because we don't have snow, we don't have rust, we don't have salt on the roads, you know, like there's a plethora of classic cars here, and it's a place where it's like that culture can really thrive all year round because we usually have the best weather, you know. But then specifically lowriding, you know, like that was birthed here. That was birthed in California, originally from San Jose, you know, and then, you know, Los Angeles has just become like the mecca, you know, for lowriding. It's huge, but really California in general, from San Diego to LA up to San Jose. And you know, this is where it's at, you know, for lowriding for sure. I mean, the Southwest, you know, Phoenix has a great lowriding scene all the way out to even Texas, you know, but LA is definitely a stamp on lowriding.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what separates low riding from like regular cruising? Is it all just basically like keeping old cars nice and putting them on some kind of hydraulic system?
Yeah, it's hydraulics. It's, it's like there's customs and there's low riding, and then like customs are, just like customizing your car, but low riding is, like messing with the suspension,
Cool.
Some guys have their cars on hydraulics. Some guys have their cars on air ride. I've got this thing on air ride. I've got a Chevy Caprice that I'm working on right now that'll be on, that'll get juiced for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely.
The opening party for the show was a regular art opening with DJs and fun times and all that, but it was also a carefully orchestrated cruise night that you put together with several car clubs around LA. We had some crazy cars here. I'm not a car guy, but even I know that pink Suzuki Samurai was out here.
Yeah. Envious. Those guys are great. They got some sick cars. They got
That's Envious Car Club.
Yes.
So
that's
sick.
where the Suzuki's from. Yeah.
So who was out? Tell me a little bit about the cruise night that we had as the opening for California
The cruise
Cowboys.
night was sick because there was people in the art show that are also part of car clubs, and they were, showcasing their art inside and showcasing their art outside with their cars, which I love that,
Yeah.
There's people in the show like OG Puke that I've known him since I was 15 years old through punk, but he's like a very well-known car painter and pinstriper, and he's part of a sick car club. And they all pulled up, and Estevan, he's part of a sick car club, and they all pulled up. And
Which club is Estevan part of?
Estevan's part of Pegasus.
Cool. That's Estevan Oriol.
Yes. Estevan Oriol's part of Pegasus. We have Coulter Jacobs back here. He's part of Duke's Car Club, which is in his piece, and that's like
His car was awesome.
oh, he's got a sick car. Yeah, I think it's a 38 or 34. I can't remember, but
Wow.
I mean that thing is beautiful. And then he showed up with another guy from his club, Christian Cruzwell, who I actually bought this from.
Awesome.
So that was really cool and special to me to have those guys here.
Yeah.
You know?
Coulter's whole existence is like style.
Yeah.
Just him as a person, the way he presents himself, his outlook on society, to the way he cruises with his car, just so cool. Absolutely styling.
He is one of a kind, truly.
Yeah.
He's
It was a pleasure to meet him.
Yeah, he's cool, man. He's a character.
His work too, is just from the heart. He's doing his thing.
He's a writer, he's a painter, he's a car builder. I mean, what does that guy not do? He's like truly through and through like someone from LA. You know what I mean? Like that dude's like the most LA you could get.
So cool.
Yeah.
This was what, the third rendition of California Cowboys?
Yeah.
So how did you start it out, and what was it like as it grew to this proper month-long exhibition here at Superchief?
I just had this idea that I wanted to put on an art show, and I wanted to put on a cruise because, I started hanging out with all the guys in Dead City and got involved with them and started kind of helping them kind of organize some shows. And I was like, oh, like this is sick. I love this, and I've always been involved in Southern California punk and hardcore as far as like being part of the scene and a contributing member to like put on events and put on shows.
Yeah,
and like
because you and the Dead City guys put together the crazy legendary Frogtown show, right?
Yeah. And I remember that night, and that night I was just thinking to myself in the midst of just all that chaos, how do I do this with cars? Because I had already done a couple of cruises with
One
a
thing
friend.
that's missing from this is really lowrider.
Yeah. But I'm like, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like lowriding and people that, take the time to build these cars and put so much time and money into them. They don't want a wild punk show going on around their classic car.
Catching tags. On the bumper
exactly.
And stuff like that.
No, but I remember just thinking, I was like, because I had done through the pandemic, I had helped my friend Sal Preciado back here. I I had helped him put together some cruises and just kind of like started hanging out with him and a couple of different older guys that were like really, really involved in lowriding, and I just got the bug on that super tough. And then obviously like with helping with the punk stuff, I was like, how do I bring these worlds together? You know, it's like, I'm gonna do an art show, you know?
Yeah.
And
I'm impressed with the caliber of art that comes out of that scene.
It's
It is
crazy.
some really great stuff.
oh man.
I'm so proud to have been able to host this show with you. It's got to be one of my favorite shows, group show wise, that we've done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That means so much to me. Like you've told me that a couple times now, and I'm like, really? You know, like really?
No, this show.
Because Superchief to me is like so sick and like legendary in itself for
Thanks.
just being just a sick gallery that puts on for the city, for people from the city, you know. And like California Cowboys is just me trying to put on for all my homies from California, from the Southwest, and I think that I know that you do that, you know.
It was cool. It was we have very similar ethics to the reasons that we like to put together group shows, kind of like art for the people
Yeah.
style. It's not necessarily a profit motive driven thing. We're just trying to be like, how can we make it happen? How can we put people on who are amateur artists that have really cool work next to their famous
Yeah.
idols,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
get a ton of people out to see their work and know who they are.
Yeah.
Give them an opportunity for sales and exposure.
Exactly.
That's the way I like to sum it up.
Exactly, you know, and like for me, like coming into it now, you know, doing this show with you and in finding out the ways that I can put on people and bring exposure and help them sell their art and show that like, yeah, you can do this for real. Like you can, you know, there's obviously like some legends in this show. You know, we got Baby Ray, we got Rick Clayton.
Where do we start?
You know, yeah, Mike Miller, we got Estevan, you know,
Yes.
like some real like LA OG staples. And
Absolutely. We got Sponto.
Oh yeah.
Chaka.
Yeah, oh yeah, Chaka.
Matt McCormick.
Yeah.
Tracy Lords. Ozzy Juarez and Sick Kid. I mean, it's hard. There's so many legends in the show.
And then there's so many people that,
Vile.
yeah.
Perez Brothers.
Dude, but then there's
So many.
Then there's Silas the God, you know, and Andrew, Time Stands Still or Upset, you know. Like
How many people are in the show?
What was the final count? Was it 60?
It was like 75.
75? Yeah,
It's
a lot.
cool.
And it's crazy because
cool.
the first show was 34.
Wow.
The first show was 34.
Wow.
Yeah. And I thought that was crazy. And
Yeah.
I was, you know, like, I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I just was like, I'm just doing this. And we were hanging day of, you know, up until doors. People were like showing up. We're like, not yet. We're not
That's
done.
always a great feeling.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. I'm like, what am I doing? And then now, you know, like to be, you know, invited into this space by you to like have the time to prep and really take time to truly curate this out, you know, to have multiple cars here, you know. Puke had a car from his car club, Cabrones, you know, and I thought that was sick. And the minute that thing was out of here, I was like, all right, bring this one in here.
So sick.
And, you know, just giving everybody their space. And dude, you did an amazing job at really like formulating these walls and making them what they are.
Thank you.
Like,
yeah, layout is something I could step in on and help.
Bro.
Yeah. I lay out a lot of group shows.
This wall right here, when you started there, I was like, oh, Bill's got this. Bill's got this for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, like the color, because you're like the way you go at it too, like the color palette, you know, like the purples and the reds that are here to like this wall, and like the black and white and darker tones to like the blues and the green. It all hits, man. You really did an amazing job hanging all of this and putting it together.
Doing the layout is something that I really like to pay attention to, because as someone presenting a bunch of other artists, you know, your art's not in the show. You need to assemble everyone else's art in the most attractive way possible that dignifies them as an artist and gets people's attention and kind of flows nicely. I pay a lot of attention to the way it's laid out and what goes with what. I try not to put two people's photography next to each other. I don't want people to get confused. And, you know, something I would recommend to people who are putting on their own art shows is to spend a lot of time with that. Give yourself twice as much install time as you think you need, and always label people's artwork.
Yes.
There's nothing worse than getting called into a group show, giving them your precious work, and then showing up to the opening and your name isn't even next to the piece.
Yeah.
People will hate you for that.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to get your own art show, gallery going, you gotta label people's work.
Definitely.
Always pay a lot of attention to that.
Definitely. It's interesting. I've had a couple of friends reach out to me since starting California Cowboys and telling me that they're trying to put together group shows and feeling inspired by what I've been doing with this to do their own. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Here's the rundown. Here's everything I've fucked up on. Here's everything I've learned.
Yeah.
Let me tell you everything I can to help you so that you can have the most success. Like, plan. Give yourself time to install. You know, like
give
take
yourself
the time to like
a
sit
lot
with
of
it.
time.
Yeah.
Everyone always thinks it's easy to do something when they haven't done it, but they see someone else do it. They're like, I could do an art show.
Totally.
I could do a fucking podcast.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard. There's
Yeah.
a lot of beginning mistakes that you're going to make.
Yes.
And it's going to take you time to get good and know what you're doing. So
Yeah. And if I can
give
help,
yourself extra time.
yeah, give yourself extra time. If I can help you, give you as much insight as I can so that you can avoid the mistakes I've made, I'm always the first to do that. You know,
Yeah.
there's no secrets here. I'm fully transparent. I was like, this is how it went down. Don't do this.
Yeah.
Do that.
This was awesome. The show was important to people, and I know that because we were open for an entire month,
Yeah.
every weekend, and we had more foot traffic through the gallery to see the show than most shows.
That's
probably like 40, 50 people per day.
That's
It
amazing.
was awesome.
Yeah, that blows me away.
So clearly, this show meant a lot to people, and they made the trek out during the rainiest year on record here in Los
Yeah.
Angeles.
Yeah,
They
it's crazy.
braved the rain. It's not something Angelinos like to do.
No, definitely not.
Freeways are piled up with reckless drivers and
Yep,
Dodge Chargers and whatnot.
Yep. Everyone's usually like locked up in their pad, you know, like with the heater on, watching Netflix,
Yep.
waiting for it to be over with, you know, waiting for the sun to come out. But that didn't stop people. It's
Yeah.
kind of wild.
And the opening party was awesome. We probably had 800 people here.
Yeah.
A dance party for half the gallery was just one big dance
This
party.
whole zone was just a dance party. The line from the bar was out the door practically the whole time. The alley was packed. The
So
parking
cool.
lot next door was packed. We had a line around the block, all like for the majority of the night.
Yeah.
You know, I was like blown away by that. you
Super
know?
memorable.
Yeah, it was fun.
And it was so cool to see graffiti kids here with cholos and lowrider guys and old and young.
Yes, industry people, music people,
Yes.
you know, art people, like every type of person, you know, blue collar people with their, you know, families
Yeah,
and
babies.
yeah. Every walk of life came here that night, and it was so sick.
Always inspiring to me when everybody can be in one room and no one's fighting. No
Yeah.
one's causing any drama.
Dude, you know, for me, there was a point where, you know, security was very late, and I was very stressed out, and I was just on my toes, ready for anything, you know, until they got here. And I realized I needed to get off my toes and relax because the vibe and the energy in the room was nothing but just good times, man.
Yeah.
Everybody here was just here to just have a good time, and everyone was smiling, just celebrating.
So cool.
Yeah.
With cars cruising through the nasty alleyway around and light sprinkling rain.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was cool. It was very cool.
And we got lucky because it has been so rainy this month.
Yeah.
What a horrible time to plan a lowrider centric art show.
What were we thinking?
But we did not get rained out.
We didn't.
We did
didn't.
not.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
As soon as the event was over, then the rain came.
That was amazing.
It was crazy, the timing, right?
Meant to be.
Yeah. Like you were saying, cars in the back, cars in the lot, cars scraping back and forth in the front, and, you know, people all over the place, just having a good time.
Scraping is awesome.
Dude, right?
That's a big part of it. I've never seen
I
that
love
before.
that shit.
I love scraping.
Dude,
If I get
right?
into cars, I'm putting the scraper bar. For
First
sure.
time I saw that, I was hooked. I was like, yes. Because
So
it's
cool.
skateboarding to me, you know, it's like grinding a curb.
Yeah.
It's like grinding a rail, but with your car, you know?
So cool.
Skateboard's this big, a car's this big, and you're just oh man, it's the best feeling. Seeing it and being in the car, both.
You scrape with this one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
hell
that's
yeah. Hell yeah, this thing always has a scrape plate on it. I want to put 2 more in the back, make it scrape bigger, you know.
Man, I couldn't believe fucking the way Chaka pulled up to the show. It's my first time meeting Chaka.
Dude.
Obviously, Chaka is a legend of LA graffiti culture.
Straight up.
Chaka is the LA graffiti writer on the news in the 90s.
Yep.
Plague upon the city. Who is this Chaka?
Yep.
He got caught. I mean, he was on The Simpsons.
But he's in Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit video.
Yes. Chaka is such the legend of LA graffiti.
Yep.
For just his, how much he got up back in the 90s and stuff.
Yeah.
He got caught, he got out, statute of limitations is over on that. Chaka's back in the world, and we got to fucking have him in the show.
Yeah,
The
how
fire
cool.
hydrant,
Yeah.
the City of LA sign,
Yeah.
and East Los Angeles sign.
Yeah.
That was dope.
It was very cool.
How do you know Chaka? How did this come about?
I know Chaka through merch.
Sick.
Yeah, and I was just like, I had met him twice through merch, and the last time I had hung out with them, merch was just like, he's down to be in the show. I was like, really? He's like, yep, he's down. I was like, okay, cool. And I thought about it. I was like, I hit him up like a week later. I was like, hey, you think he's really down? He's like, he's down. I was like, okay, cool. And that was all it took. That was all.
Chaka pulled up once just to check us out.
Yeah.
See if we were like sus.
Yeah.
And then came back an hour later with like a street sign and a fire hydrant.
Dude.
That was blessed us up.
That was crazy.
Tagged it right in here.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool because he came in and kind of like assessed the room, make sure it wasn't whack. You know,
Yeah.
he brought a piece, but then he's like, I'll be back in a couple hours. 5-6 hours later, he shows up with a fire hydrant. Heavy as shit. That thing is like,
That was amazing.
what, like over 100-something pounds. That thing
So
is
heavy.
I
We
mean,
had to
even
put it on
heavier
the
than
cart.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. Yeah. Just hit that thing up. He's like looking around, and like the way watching him paint was so cool because it's like watching a fighter in a cage. You know, like a cage match. Like the way that he would like
Oh my God.
look at a piece. Yes. Yes.
He's
exactly.
going around everything
like
this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. Like sitting back and just watching him do his thing was really, really cool.
It was dope. I was
Yeah.
starstruck.
Yeah,
Chaka's
for sure.
awesome.
Yeah. I immediately busted my phone. I was like, I have to document this. This is crazy.
Just watching him with the City of LA signs.
Yeah.
It's so hard to come across those wherever
Yeah.
they may have come from.
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, I get it though, like art gallery can mean a lot of different things. I'm sure Chaka's been to art galleries that are not Superchief.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you're dealing with a lot of like subculture, counterculture type people, and you're like, oh, we're doing an art gallery show.
Yeah.
That has a lot of connotations that I noticed through this show in people's heads where they're just like, oh, art galleries, I hate that.
Yep.
Galleries are run by rich people who are just parasites on artists.
Yeah.
And all they want to do is exploit me for my authenticity.
Yeah.
And I always just want to be like, yeah, that is what the common critique of an art gallery is, but like this one is a little different.
Yeah.
But you've never been here, so I get it. So like
Exactly.
whatever, yeah. I think that, I hope a lot of the artists have seen like the way we do things is a little more like we said before, like art for the people.
Oh, straight up. This place is for the communities of LA, and that's like a very broad spectrum, you know. And,
Yeah.
And that's what this place is here for. That's what California Cowboys is all about. And once people understand that, they seem to let their walls down and be far more open, like Chaka.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
It was very cool.
Yeah, the goal, I would say the goal of something like this is just opportunities for exposure and for sales.
Yeah.
You know, it's to get these people out there. These are people trying to make money, trying to make a career out of what it is they do.
Yep.
And that is what an art show does for you. Like obviously some of these people may be famous enough on Instagram or whatever that they can just handle all their own sales through Instagram and not need to worry about taking part in anything else. But when they put work in a show like this, it's like they co-sign and make an investment in community, you know?
Yeah. They co-sign every other artist in the show.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, for the artists here that aren't able to do that yet or haven't figured out, what that looks like for them. And
Yeah.
it's a great opportunity for
They put their trust in the curator, like you or I, to have picked artists that are going to be like someone to believe in.
yeah,
So
exactly.
you got to respect it when somebody who could just as easily sell their work on Instagram believes in you as a curator and says, yes, I'm going to put work in your show.
Yeah,
It's not all about the paycheck at the end of the day for me. It's about giving people real world experiences to come see my work in person and interact with me and my work and see it for free. And we're not, putting it behind a ticket wall or something like that.
Yeah. I'm always like ready for someone to say no.
Yeah.
And when they say yes, I was like, oh, really? Cool. Awesome. Thanks. Yeah. Or thank you for your trust.
Yes.
Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you for your trust.
Thank you for your trust.
There's a ton of trust that goes into this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. So much time and emotion and just feeling goes into all of these pieces for each one of these individual artists to then trust you and I to showcase them properly.
Yeah. Make it look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing this interview right at the end. I mean,
Yeah.
this art's about to come off the wall, but
Yeah, I know.
we had to document this one.
Had to.
What do you think is next in terms of California Cowboys? What's the move? This has been your most legit presentation of an exhibition so far.
Yeah.
Not the one-day pop-up.
Yeah.
This has been a month-long museum-style showing.
Yeah, it was crazy because the first one, it was just like a one-day pop-up, just like flash mob style, just like,
Just pretty much just like a crazy-ass party.
Yeah,
With
pretty
an art
much.
show
With
for
an
one
art
day.
show. Yeah, and a crazy cruise, and it was just like this idea that I had. And then to now be able to like showcase all of these people in, a beautiful space like this for, an allotted amount of time so that people that, may have missed the opening show can still come. And like you said, like 30, 50 people a day or so, coming through just to come and look at this. They heard about it and just want to come, experience them for themselves. It's like, okay, cool. Like, what's next? I don't know. Like, I've got so many ideas. My wheels are always turning, man. Like, it's hard for me to turn my brain off. I've got more ideas than I can write down.
Yeah.
Like you and I, how many times you and I sat down together?
Oh, yeah.
And we both leave those conversations like bugging other people and be like, hey, what's up?
Hyped up on business.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think there's a lot of great opportunities that you've got on the horizon for it. I mean, it's California Cowboys Collective in the name. At this point, you've got a list of 100-something artists.
Yeah.
I think that it's up to you now to just sit back and really brainstorm where they plug in.
Yeah.
To make clothes, to make some more fine artwork to put up for sale in an exhibition.
I definitely want to zoom in on like each individual.
Yeah.
And do my best to provide a closer look at them and their art, and whether it be through collaborating on art shows, random, I don't know, merchandise or whatever we can come up with, kind of just going through the list and just sitting down with, whoever's down to sit down and kind of brainstorm together and see what it is. I got some ideas for sure.
And you got to keep throwing buck wild, hood ass, lowrider dance parties with great DJs because, man, that's the hook right now.
Totally,
it's
totally.
awesome.
I mean,
these parties you've been throwing are sick.
I just love doing that, man. Sitting back and seeing a room full of people that are just like smiling, dancing, partying, having a good time, like that makes me feel alive.
Yes.
That gives me the best feeling. I can't think of anything else that makes me feel better than that. It's just like this charge.
Art's cool, but throw people a good party.
Yeah.
They'll love you forever.
Yeah.
It's what keeps the world going around.
Definitely.
I'll bet a bunch of people met each other that night. They're going to be friends for years.
Yeah.
It's the way it goes. Nothing's better than a good party.
I've heard so many, since the first one, it's crazy how often I'll just be in random places and people will tell me cool ass stories about what happened to them that night, or like how their experience of that night, or even since this show, it's only been a month, And I've come across so many people, Bill, it's so crazy, where I'm like, whoa, oh, cool, cool, cool. Oh, hell yeah, I love this. It's like always happening.
That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I love it. I definitely want to venture into publications. Like I want to put together books and zines.
So
definitely.
Cool.
That's like
that would be awesome.
That's definitely on the horizon right now. I've got a couple little things that I'm already starting to work on. So we'll see what those end up being. But this year for sure, there'll be a couple of cool zines and books. Definitely another sick party. Definitely another art show. Yeah, just keep the wheel turning.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I think this was great in terms of the presentation of the art and everything. Next time around, let's just offer people a lot of stuff that they can buy, like shirt or book wise, so everybody can take home a souvenir.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Something to remember it by.
Yeah.
Something to remember all of this by. You know, that's important. I realize now more than ever, because like through doing all of this, like after the first one, people were like, "Can I come and walk through it? Can I come check out the art?" I'm like, "Oh, it's not. It's gone. It's gone.
That's it.
Sorry."
That was just for me and my friends on Instagram only. Sorry, you didn't hear about it in time.
Yeah. So now I've really now I have an understanding of like giving people something to hold on to.
Yeah.
Look back on.
Really cool. Sky's the limit.
Yeah.
It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Wish you the best on it, man.
Thank you, dude. Thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor to be in this room and like to have the opportunity to do this, you know, from what it was to what it is now, and who knows what it'll become. But thank you for this.
Thanks, Luis. You killed it, man.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you.